What's going on, YouTube? This is your melanated warrior, Haywood Haynes, and this is another installment of Facts Over Feelings. Leave your feelings at the door so we can get to the facts, and we are at it with some powerful content. I'm telling you, at any, I know I do these segments, and I'm like, man, grab your pen and your pad, get ready. It's about to be explosive. This is it. I'm telling you, this is going to be the most powerful segment that has ever been produced by this platform, bar none. Bar none. I'm really chopping. Hey, I'm beefing it up like that. I'm putting the hype machine in overdrive. You know what I'm saying? It's really that deal, straight up, because we're not playing no games. I know my absence has been pretty long, but you already know. During that time, the Most High is giving me all sorts of uploads, downloads, however you want to characterize it, and it's going to be well worth the wait. I never disappoint, and I'm not going to start now. Period. And we pride ourselves here at the FOF Squad on making sure that we give you information that has utility, information that you can use. There's no point in conducting exercises in futility, but let's get started, because this is a segment where we're going to be putting some nails in some coffins. Nails in some coffins. Oh, we about to celebrate. This is going to be, like I said, and I don't care. I used to say, oh, well, yeah, man, share this with people. Share it with the chosen. You the chosen. As long as you get it, that's who I rock with. That's what I care about. You see what I'm saying? Because like we said before, we got to make sure that we are strengthening and cultivating those bonds, or cultivating relationships with individuals who we've established common ground with, and strengthening those bonds. Because we don't know what role they're going to play a month down the line, 6 months down the line, a year down the line, as things continue to, in their words, advance from bad to worse. So this is how we set up that network. Because we let the Most High do the rest, but you got to put your energy into that. So that's extremely important. But like we said, we get back to understanding that we putting some nails in some coffins. And one nail that we going to do, I got some pretty coffins here. They all sorts of pretty colors. And one good big blue coffin right here, sitting right here, is called Blanco Science. And we're about to prove that there is no such thing as Blanco Science, only natural science. All right, we about to put the nail in the coffin, and this, for whether or not the black woman is God, or if she's not God, does she possess God-like material? We about to put the nail in the coffin on sexuality, making sure that you don't see it, in the way that it's one-dimensional. Nail in the coffin. We about to put a nail in the coffin, on some other things too as well, especially with these current events. Nails in some coffins. And then after all of that, what you're going to be able to do is literally build the bridge that can take you from the natural to the supernatural, from the ordinary to the extraordinary, almost effortlessly. Because now you will know what to really actually do, and understand that nothing is hidden. And if it is hidden, it's all in plain sight. So let's go. See, because it starts off with, really what I fall, that happens pretty frequently, and only because this is the nature of what we got going on here in this movement. When we run into people who talk what we talk, who spit that same rhetoric, spit that same fire, emotion. Look, look, hey man, we don't care where where they from, what the background is, and stuff like that. And I dig that. But see, I'm gonna start it off like this so that you guys understand where I'm going, because it seems like I'm running off on a tangent, right? Not at all. When you watch the Hebrew Israelites, because I'm bring shouts out to y'all. I know if you're watching, I got some who watch my channel too as well. One of the things that you see when they interact with Blancos, they can't wait. They can't wait to let them know, like, you telling us about us, which makes no sense. It's our story, right? And so that's where I'm going with this. When you tell Heru about a Blanco scientist, it's not to say that I have any, disagreement with them. It's just to say that I'm passionate about understanding that this is our story. It's our story. So yeah, kudos to them for championing Mother Nature, but that's what they need to do. That's what you need to do. I don't even care. Like I said, it doesn't matter if you possess the godlike molecule melanin. If you're not, appreciative of what Mother Nature is providing for you, then you may well serve to be in the same position that they're going to find themselves in the near future, facing annihilation. You see what I'm saying? So this is why this is extremely important. So when they champion Mother Nature, good for you. Kudos. You're telling my story. That's our story. And when we talked about these natural sciences, remember we're talking about the natural sciences, chemistry. And the principal discipline in chemistry was organic chemistry. And organic chemistry is the study of carbon. And carbon, mind you, is shrouded in this mystery because you have to learn another language. Like, imagine learning a subject, but you have to learn another language to learn it. So imagine if, your kids were in school, they had to learn history, but they had to learn Portuguese in order to learn history. That's what it is with the sciences. Microbiology, anatomy and physiology, all of the different stuff is shrouded in Latin. Okay? And so carbon is Latin for coal. Coal is decomposed plants. We have to remind ourselves of that. Now, if you checked out the book, like I said, The Untold Story of the Carbon Baby on Amazon.com, authored by your boy Heru Haynes, you would already be caught up to speed with all of this. So that's why this is important. You need those manuscripts. Now, the thing is that when we understand that this is the science that has built the matrix, okay? Carbon has built the matrix. We look at the Industrial Revolution. Okay, it was when they found out how to manipulate carbon and iron together, making steel and stronger forms of steel. You see what I'm saying? When they found that spurred them on into higher levels of so-called quote unquote urban development. All right, and then they were able to build an empire based off of this revolution. Okay, you see it all the time with their carbon filters that they use to clean their water. All right, you see, it's made their engine blocks, carbon with plastics, carbon this, carbon. It is the center of everything. They call it the king of elements. And lo and behold, it is the vast majority of the melanin molecule, carbon. Remember we talked about its molecular formula, C18H10N2O4, 34 atom molecule. 18 of those 34 atoms are carbon. And this carbon is Latin for coal. And this coal is decomposed plants. So the question should be, how do you have these people walking around with decomposed plant material in their skin? Not just in their skin, in their eyes, in their brain, in their lung, and all the tissues and organs in the body. See, this is why you can't let them marginalize this power by saying, "Oh, it's only skin deep." No, it's all a part of your organism. This is what's so important about this. So this is a study of you. This is what came out of Kemet. Kemet, another name for the land of Egypt. Egypt, another name for something else. But you get the point. See, when you're looking at things through the lens of nature, you don't have to debate. You know that this is a place or a region that's tropical, where you have to have this carbon in order to survive. We know these blancos didn't invent nothing like sunscreen until like 1938, so we're not going to deal with that argument. We know that in mass numbers, there's no way for you to survive. Also, their science has said that, we migrated out of Africa. And when we migrated out of Africa and came into touch with cooler temperatures, and our noses and nostrils shrunk, to prevent the air from getting to the brain and blah, 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 the cool air and all this other different excuses that they have for the pigmentation, losing its, the density and losing, or morphing itself from pheomelanin, from eumelanin to pheomelanin, because that's the distinct type of melanin that they have. So this was the reason, that's the excuse they have for that evolution. So if we know that you talking about your existence came about from us leaving Africa, then how in the hell were you in Africa during ancient times? See, we got to get past all of this stuff. We got to ask the right questions. And the problem is because we suffer from trying to look at this world through the lens of compartmentalized information. And that's why we're unsuccessful many times. But the point being is that this is your science. This is your story. The study of carbon is your story. That periodic table of elements. And mind you, you go to school, the way they teach you this stuff, the way they put together the information, you sit back and you like, I don't see how this applies to me. And they knew you would do that. They knew you would do that. And so that's why I'm saying that they separated religion and science when your science was your religion. That's what you have to understand. And it works for them in a practical way, right? They use carbon all of the time. Like we said, it created it spurred their industrial revolution. All right, all the modern technology, manipulation of carbon, it has millions of different combinations that it can make, right? And which in turn gives you tons of applications. And that's to me, that's one of the reasons why we'll always lag behind, because in order to be captains of industry, you must understand what's the energy behind it. And that is the use of chemistry, and this idea that chemistry is just about chemicals. You're tripping. Look at the periodic table of elements. There's metals in there. Okay? Metals. And you have to, so when you're dealing with, metals and you're dealing with metallurgy and all of this is still chemistry. Never lose sight of that. That is still chemistry. Okay, so when they begin to endorse the natural science or organic chemistry, that's when they begin to say that they're letting you know that, okay, well, I'm on your team. That's your story. I admit to that. Now, some won't say it literally, like you'll have some people say it softly, like you even some people from the modern era, like I'm pretty sure you people are familiar with, and most of they're women. You're familiar with Jane Elliott, some of you guys know about Robin DiAngelo. She wrote the book White Fragility. Then you got individuals who will go a little bit extreme, but what we're going to expose, we're going to show you that there was a guy in the early 1900s, late 1800s, that was voicing the same concerns, but he was actually a little bit more dogmatic in his approach. He was actually a little bit more virulent in his approach. He was like, look, I ain't taking none of this shit. Y'all, this Blanco science is fraudulent. And he was a Blanco man. See, and so what I'm saying right now, if you were to hear this dude talk, I swear y'all would say, oh, that sound like that sound like Hey Rue talking or something. Like, nah, I wouldn't even. This is what I'm telling you. When they come into the truth, they feel the same way. So when, like I said before, when you get these Blanco scientists who say, oh yeah, nature and herbs and all of this different stuff, that stuff works, and yeah, that we see evil pervading or permeating itself within every sector of government, we know all of these things. Because we know that the energy that is in power right now is diametrically opposed to the power that is all around us, which we call Mother Nature. All right? The only thing that it's doing is reverse engineering the technology of Mother Nature and then using it against her, using it against you, because you are the living remnants of Mother Nature. We about to go deep on some shit. Man, I'm telling you, get your pads out. Nails in coffins. I'm telling you. So, what we're going to do, we're going to take a look at a guy. I'm going to recommend some books. We're going to look at some videos and shit like that. Oh, we got some time today. We got time today. So we're going to take a look at a book, Professor Arnold Ehret's Mucusless Diet Healing System, annotated, revised, and edited by Professor Spira. This is one of the books to have in your library. I'm telling y'all, and I recommend books. Get on them. But yeah, so this is the thing. He ended up dying mysteriously, okay? Ended up dying mysteriously in the 1920s and stuff. They say he slipped and fell. Hit his head or something. Like, come on, man. But he was all about fasting and a mucusless diet approach, saying that, the mucusless diet was basically avoiding everything that Westerners was telling you to eat. Okay? Telling you that the food was garbage, it was poison, everything white, and because it was an attempt by them, especially early, to make their lifestyle a healthy lifestyle so that everybody would participate in it. Because if, they knew that since it was a destructive lifestyle, especially for people who were plant-based beings, okay? Not just because you eat plant-based because you have to. Oh, this is about to get deep. But he knew that for plant-based beings, it was not right for them to eat meat. Just no more as it's right for a cow to eat meat, or for any herbivore. You know what I'm saying? So the reason being, even if you can eat it, it just goes to show that one thing it will do is lower your vibration, because the highest level of vibration is in foods that contain radiation or that capture radiation, which is vegetation. Okay? So man, it's about to get deep. Now, this is the thing. As you read his book, like I said before, we know that he probably was murdered because he was like he felt like Western science was fraudulent, and we're gonna just quote some of these comments, quote some of these excerpts from this book that I highlighted, and show you exactly what how. I mean, just when you hear what this Blanco was saying, you're just gonna be. I'm telling you, you're gonna be amazed. You're gonna be like, what? I swear, I'm only bringing the heat. I'm only bringing the heat. So, this is what he said. This is what he said about his own people. This is what he said about his own people. He says, he says, in my first published article, I promulgated the gigantic idea that the white race is an unnatural, a sick, and a pathological one. First, the colored skin pigment is lacking in color mineral salts. Second, the blood is continually overfilled by white blood corpuscles. Corpuscles are like free-flowing cells, okay? Mucus and waste with white color. This is the reason for the white appearance of the entire body. The skin pores of the white people are constipated by white, dry mucus. Their entire tissue system is filled up and filled out with it. No wonder that they look pale and white and anemic. Everybody knows that an extreme case of paleness is a bad sign. When I appeared with my friend in a public air bath after having lived for several months on a mucusless diet with sun baths, we looked like Indians, and people believed that we belonged to another race. This condition was doubtless due to the great amount of red blood corpuscles and the great lack of white blood corpuscles. I can notice a trace of paleness in my complexion the morning after eating one piece of bread. So this dude, like, I went mucusless. I avoided the Western diet, and I felt great. I did sun baths, and all of a sudden, the people saying, like, we look like we Indians. I got an Indian in my family. You know what I'm saying? This dude all super excited and stuff, and then he say, shit, as soon as I got off of that, hey, one piece of bread felt pale. And he was talking about how the white blood cells, what he felt from his how he assessed the situation, he felt like the white blood cells was the pus. You know, it was the fungus. I call it the fungus. It became alive. It was rolling through, because you got to remember, you share your body, and they compete. Organisms compete. You see what I'm saying? That's why they tell you about gut health, because if one organism, begins to proliferate, then obviously it causes problem for the whole system. Okay, so that's what he was pointing to, and I've been talking about fungus for a long time, so you guys already know that. Now we go back to pages 60 and 61 of this book, and he says, look what he says. He says, experts, he puts it in quotation marks, obviously, and says, the founders of such a kind of science lacked all knowledge of chemistry at all, and organic chemistry especially. This dude in the 1920s telling you, and you hear Heru saying this, like I'm saying before, they had to go against organic chemistry, but teaching you it at the same time, because they have to hide it in plain sight. And that's why they shrouded it in what's called a dead language. Not dead in the sense that it's not used anymore, but it's only used for rites and rituals, and that is the language called Latin. That's what you need to know. You see what I'm saying? He goes on to say, the entire proposition is a farce, masquerading as a so-called science. This is a Blanco scientist, a real Blanco scientist, because what? He endorses natural science. He endorses organic chemistry. He endorses our story. Because chemistry comes from the land of Kemet. Kemet was another name for Egypt. Egypt is in Africa. The science is based on you. You are a carbon-based being. A plant-based being. Remember, carbon is only Latin for coal. Coal is decomposed plant matter. So let's move on. We're going to read something from page 54, because we're going to show you how, and this is his theory, but it just goes to show you how he was diametrically opposed to the Western setup. And, and he felt that their science was fraudulent, that it wasn't a science at all. He even talked about, how physiology has been screwed up. And this is what he says. He says, and I'm going to start it now. He says, I have already explained the fact that has been overlooked, that the lungs are the motoric organs of circulation, and the circulating blood drives the heart, the same as the regulating valve in an engine. That the bloodstream drives the heart and not the opposite can be seen through the two following facts. One, as soon as you increase air pressure by increased breathing, you speed the circulation and therefore the number of heartbeats. Two, as soon as you take into the circulation a stimulating poison, alcohol for example, you increase the speed of the heart. As soon as you take a nerve and muscle band paralyzing poison, for example, digitalis, you decrease the speed of the heart. The medical profession has this exact knowledge, but in spite of the knowledge, arrives at the wrong conclusion that a mysterious power acts on the heart muscle, driving the blood circulation. Prominent engineers among my patients agree with my concept after learning this new physiology, saying that the heart would make a model valve for any kind of engine. So he's like, the heart is not the... So he's going on and explaining you a whole new physiology. Okay? Showing you that this shit is upside down, inside and out. Like, what did Stokely Carmichael say? Top down, left, right. It's all screwed up. There is no such thing as Blanco science. And then he mysteriously ends up dying. You see what I'm saying? This is what you have to understand. Like I told you before, some people, when they get in contact with this information, they go to extremes. We've always held this up. We will continue to keep doing so. They built this matrix off of us. Carbon is in everything. Without carbon, there can be no life. So it's not this spooky, this, oh God, spirit went to and fro. Whatever the spirit was, it had to have carbon in it. Because that's what we can see today. Now remember, we can't go so far as to commit totally to it, because just because you can name something does not mean that you know what it is. But this is the foundation that we have. This is the energy that we know that we can use. It has practical applications, right? You use carbon, or what they call carbon, for many different things. And carbon is what? Latin for coal, and coal is this decomposed plant material. This coal they use, for powering their matrix. Right? The oil and gas they use, which still comes from these decomposed plant material and decomposed animals that contain carbon. That's why it's a non-renewable resource. And ironically enough, this Blanco teaches you that organic chemistry is a study of carbon, and carbon is the king of elements, and carbon is in everything, and without carbon nothing can exist. And at the same time, because he knows that it doesn't register to you, it doesn't mean anything to you, he can tell you it's too much carbon on the planet. I am killing you niggas. How can you let somebody steer the ship or steer the course of humanity, teach you right in plain sight that this is what this environment is, and then tell you in the same breath it's too much of it? It's too many people who contain carbon. The trees contain carbon. And then he talked about how you can use the trees to capture carbon. Well, if you knew that you could use the trees to capture carbon, because you knew trees capture carbon. But if you knew that you could, that was the natural course of things, why would you be chopping them down? Why would you make it into your money? You know what I'm saying? Deforestation, all this. I mean, see, we got to understand, and not just that, the lifeblood of trees. Think about maple trees, maple syrup. Every time spring hits, which is about to approach, them Blancos get their tubes and stick it in trees. Dig holes in them and then suck out the syrup, suck out the sugar. Come on, man. We live off these beans, these gods. Look, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, man. Because I got to read it, I got to look it up, and I forgot to do this. So be patient with me, because we got time. We got time. I got time today because we put some nails in some coffins. Okay. Let me look up because I want to read it. I just don't want to say what the scripture is. I actually want to read it because it's going to be powerful. You got to read stuff to people. You really do. You got to show them the evidence, okay? You got to show them the evidence. Got to show them the evidence. Gotta show them the evidence. So just rock with me for a second. Just hold on for a second. It's okay. Now I just want to read this. This is Genesis 3, chapters 22 to 24. Like, we just want to show you, because we're gonna double all this stuff is gonna have new meaning to you. Remember, we old concepts and new clothes. All right, Genesis 3, 22 to 24. Then the Lord God said, behold, the man has become like one of us in knowing good and evil. Now lest he reach out his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. Therefore the Lord sent him out of the Garden of Eden to work the ground from which he was taken. So in order to, to prevent them from taking of the tree of life, to become gods. This is deep, because I'm about to ask you a powerful question right now, and that should stir your soul. If a tree can make someone a god, is not the tree God? Come on, man. You have to stop looking at energy because it ain't got no arms and legs like you. You got to stop looking at it like it's not a powerful source of energy. That's why he put you in the garden. But see, what they did was they crafted the story and made you have characters, God and Adam and Eve, and it was this relationship, and it had to be this obedience and yada yada yada. No, what it was I'm finna show you. Because like I said, we got time today. All right, give me a second. Because we're about to show you why why it's important that you really understand the nature of these beings and stuff, right? Um, they're called bristlecone pines. I got, you can just look up bristlecone pines. It's some of the oldest trees on earth. Uh, the bristlecone pines is a long-living species of tree found in the higher mountains of the southwest United States. Bristlecone pine grows in isolated groves in the arid mountain regions of 6 western states of America, but the oldest are found in the ancient bristlecone pine forest in the White Mountains of California. These trees have a remarkable ability to survive in extremely harsh and challenging environments. In fact, they are believed to be some of the oldest living organisms in the world, with lifespans in excess of 5,000 years. Okay, this is some of them that you can see. I just want you to, it says, because of these extreme conditions, the trees grow very slowly, and in some years don't even add a ring of growth. Even the tree's needles, which grow in bunches of 5, can remain green for 40 years. It says that while other species of trees that grow nearby suffer rot, bare bristlecone pines can endure even after death, often still standing on their roots for many centuries. It says the bristlecone pines are not protected in a number of areas owned by the United States federal government, such as the ancient bristlecone pine forest in the White Mountains of California and the Great Basin National Park in Nevada. The exact location of both trees are kept secret, or the trees like Methuselah, that's what they're talking about, to prevent tourists and hikers from damaging the trees. Okay, which may or may not happen, but this is the thing. I'm gonna show you a picture of some of these trees. Some of these trees, what they look like, just beautiful, gorgeous. Gorgeous. You can look some of those pictures up on the internet. But this is the point. This is like, we're showing you that these are the beings that were here before. So remind you, this is why I'm saying this, because we're going to come full circle on all of these things. We're going to show how all the information I'm about to present to you in the segment is all linked, and it's all going to prove and put nails in the coffins on the concepts that I told you that we've went over and over on previous segments, right? Just to, like I said, just to make sure that we hit home and we provide clarity and meaning to you guys. But when you're taking a look at these trees, you understand that this was the environment. These were the gods of this planet that contain this energy, that knows how to master the energy that comes from our central power source, the sun. Okay? They can convert it straight to sugar. We don't have that capability, so we have to take in the vegetation in order to get that. You see what I'm saying? And these carbon beings, they possess this energy that allows them to survive in extreme temperatures, allows them to grow old. And then what's so important about that too as well, you got to read this stuff. You got to get this, read this information. Because they don't really die from natural causes. Really, it'd be other stuff that causes them to die. So they can almost, live forever in a sense. You see what I'm saying? And so that's what we're talking about. The trees live forever. This now is the literal science. You see what I'm proving to you? You saw those scriptures, were based off of the science coming from alchemy. Alchemy is a study of organic chemistry. Organic chemistry is nearly nothing but the study of carbon. And nothing traps carbon or uses carbon more than trees, plants, period. That's what you need to know. Matter of fact, they say, okay, well, this is article published November 30th, 2021, Science magazine. How long does CO2 stay in a tree? Okay. And it says, is it possible to plant enough trees to oud trees be planted? I don't know why, it must be a typo. Plant enough trees to be planted to impact CO2. There is research that supports this statement. The average hardwood tree can absorb up to 48 pounds of carbon dioxide per year, depending on its size. Let's continue to keep reading. It says that the average hardwood tree can absorb up to 48 pounds of carbon dioxide per year, depending on its size. By the time it reaches 40 years old, it will have sequestered about 1 ton of carbon dioxide. So if you notice, this is what's so crazy about it. Think about the ages of the prophets. Things happening that when they were 40 years old. If you go and you research trees like maple trees and all that different stuff, that's the best time to get, that's when they, those are the trees that they like to use, the ones that's 40 years old. trees get to 40 years old and stuff, they learn how to take up the most carbon, most of the Most High's energy and store it. This is about to get deep, man. I'm telling y'all, man, y'all about to go on. You about to go on the ride, man. You about to go on the ride, because you're gonna even know that even that color matters. And we keep talking about color, like, and we talk, you know, here at the FOS Squad, we talk about it in the metaphysical sense, and we finna go deep on that too, because we gotta revisit it. All this is we're gonna make this make sense to you. Remember, speak about it in a metaphysical sense, not as a societal construct. When they talk about race in terms of black and white, as a societal construct, that black people do this, white people do that, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about black in terms of metaphysics. That black absorbs color. This is what you make your this is the best solar panels. If you wear a black t-shirt, it absorbs heat, okay? Let's go and see what the Blanco says. Let's use the Blanco man again, because some people, man, still, they want to be argumentative. They want to be combative, right? Because we don't have any legitimacy over our story, so you can't believe me. I think that's what's, you know, once again, that's where the Hebrew Israelites are so passionate. You know what I'm saying? Because you're fighting for the legitimacy that they need in order to, you know, for people to really respect their interpretation of the scriptures. Because up until now, the thought process that reigns supreme is the interpretations given to you by the powers that be. And so, look, let's see what they say. They say, why are some tree barks white? Okay, why are some tree barks white? Why do some trees have white bark? White bark on trees is a biological adaptation that protects against sun damage. Darker trees will collect heat faster when illuminated by the sun, while lighter trees will reflect the sunlight with their white bark. Okay? It says, so, you know, what we want to establish is that, you know, not only just the plant leaves absorb the radiation, the bark, that's why it's, you know, that brown, the darker trees will absorb it. Matter of fact, when you see those, have you ever walked upon trees with white bark and you see the bark splitting? The tree does that naturally. Check out how deep this is. Why do birch trees peel? Birches are able to photosynthesize through their bark. Therefore, the peeling of bark may allow the removal of a lichen light-blocking layer to expose the live inner bark. This way, the tree can take advantage of sunny winter days to create carbohydrates, even with no leaves yet available. Remember, carbohydrates, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, carbon. These trees are creating it. So think about what the Blanco was talking about. Oh, they absorb it. Not only are they absorbing it, they're creating it. It's called sugar. You keep letting this Blanco compartmentalize information, split them up into disciplines. This is one of the reasons why you don't have a whole view. Your myopic vision is what's tainting you. And those complications is what's causing all this dissension and this divide within the so-called conscious community. Know the whole story. So it's these trees that we're talking about, which is the guy like this one I'm finna show you. Like I said, this is all feeding up into it. And before I show you exactly, as I, you know, end this part with, you know, a banger, I want to show you how, you know, if there was an Adam and Eve, what they may have looked like. You got to understand this. And I'm finna hit you with another powerful one. We finna be stopping because it's finna be some nails and some coffins. All right. Now, just to hit home about this Blanco science shit, just to show you, because I'm gonna show you why, and they know that's why they want to, you know, they know. Okay. Show you some photos. I'm gonna show you the photos. I'm gonna show you the photos first, because we don't want to go off on a tangent, because we'll hit home on that, because I got so much information to present. It's just ridiculous, right? Look at that. This is a beautiful photo, and you'll see the baby at the bottom too. Okay? Isn't that crazy? I know you see the, let me see where my pen is at. You see the baby? That was Adam and Eve. The trees. See, this is the thing that you gotta understand. If you know, containing eumelanin, which is the black-brown combination of melanin. If I have eumelanin and, you know, you procreate with a sister, obviously eumelanin based, you pass down the skin. Remember, this is the largest organ. You're passing down the skin, the ability to absorb the light. Okay, this is crucial for your understanding. We're giving them not just the skin, but when we go deeper, we understand that we're giving them the melanin that gets in the eyes. Because that's what helps to absorb the light. You see, in all our tissues, all our organs, our brain, etc. So it colonizes our body. It's a migratory cell that literally colonizes our body, right? So that's one trait. That's a defining trait that you're passing down. Okay, we know color is a defining trait that gets passed down to offspring. Okay, amongst other things. And so what you have to understand is, check how deep this is. This is what's going to blow your mind. And this is facts, if factually speaking, the vast majority of my body, not just my skin, is made up of plant material, then I'm going to ask you a very powerful question. If the vast majority of my biological makeup is made of plants, then who are my parents? I'm about to wake y'all the fuck up. You see what I'm saying? This is what the Adam and Eve probably would have looked like. Huh? You see that movie, it take you back to that Night M. Shyamalan movie, whatever his name is, with The Happening, with Mark Wahlberg and the trees. He said Mother Nature's starting to war back. The actual gods are the trees. That's why they've been cutting them down. They know that you are family with the trees. It's in your skin. These are your parents. That's why they hang you from them. The language is the same with them all. Tree huggers, nigger lovers. When them blancos like the one Arnold Ehret was coming out during the perennial stages of the Industrial Revolution and stuff like that, and then later on, as it was growing and stuff, especially in the 50s and the 60s and stuff, you had individuals who became like hippies and all of that different stuff. The counter revolution, remember, because they seen that in the Industrial Revolution. That's why they called it the counter revolution. These individuals, what were called seen as tree huggers, flower power. You see what I'm saying? They were for Mother Nature. And so we can't sit up here and act like this Blanco didn't know. You had groups of Blancos, books out by, I think, what was the book called? Silent Spring. Books coming out by these Blancos, revolutions by these Blancos saying, look, we know this way is disastrous. So when these Blancos stood up there and say, oh, we're headed for disaster, man didn't know. You knew. And see, we can't give these Blancos too much credit because we as plant-based beings, carbon-based beings, have been saying this for a long time. That those who are steering the course, those who are, the ones directing humanity down this course, this path of destruction, need to be taken out of the seat of leadership. ASAP. You see what I'm saying? But the problem is that first we got to understand what we are. We got to remember, I told you how important it is. I say that in the book all the time. That's my mantra. You got to understand what you are, because it will then let you know who you are. Right? You're not I'm sorry, I'm telling you, not any religion that you find yourself under. You're not. You're a carbon-based being. Your religion was your science. Okay? And your science was alchemy. And that alchemy is based on carbon, and carbon is everywhere. According to the Blanco, listen to him, it's everywhere. We can't get rid of it. Why you think you keep saying motherland, mother this? No, it's everywhere. You have access to this energy. Stop letting this Blanco make it seem like, oh, well, okay, look, it's getting warmer, and we don't know whether this is a danger. It's a danger because he understands that now that this energy is everywhere, he can't pump scarcity the way he wants to once you buy into the idea that this energy is everywhere. You see what I'm saying? Oh, there's not enough water, it's not enough this, not enough that. He loves to pump scarcity. That's how he maintains his grip on power. So we got to get them out of the driver's seat, because we know that there's no such thing as Blanco science. We've already determined that. And I'm going to give you another example. I'm about to give you another example. I mean, this is profound right here. This is profound right here. So we're going to read an article from the Daily Mail. It was about Elizabeth Holmes. Now, if you know anything about Elizabeth Holmes, I believe it was when she was 18 or something like that, she founded this company called Theranos, and she was supposed to make this blood machine. Because because look how we love to weave this shit together from the last segment with these people being vampires and shit. So she invents this machine that claims that it can test blood and all that different shit. But let me not run off on a tangent, because I want to make sure that I give you all the information as it was given to the world, right? It says, how is that punishment? This is the title of the article. It was published on the 8th of January, 2022. All right, and it says, how is that punishment? Fury of British Theranos whistleblower's widow as fallen Silicon Valley tycoon faces a lenient jail term after her scientist husband killed himself when he was fired for questioning if miracle blood tests could ever work. So supposedly killed himself. Now, notice, look at this shit. Silicon Valley. Bang. Let me just walk. Look how we about to make chemistry tie into everything. We know that when we take a look at that periodic table of elements, you see that the carbon-14 or the C14 group, which is carbon, silica, germanium, tin, lead, flavonium. Okay, flavonium is, man-made, but the point is that, we look at those other elements, the naturally occurring elements. Carbon is at the top. As you go up the periodic table of elements, you increase in what's called electronegativity or power. As you go down, you decrease. Okay, so silica is right under us. When silica bonds with oxygen, it makes silicon dioxide. You know, this is quartz or sand. Sand makes glass. Okay, and sand also makes microchips. Therefore, instead of saying Sand Valley, they call it Silicon Valley. See how things have layered meanings, and all this time you've been walking on the beach, like I said, with your girl, twiddling your toes in the sand and shit. And then you thinking like, oh, well, man, what was the Egyptians thinking about putting the damn pyramids in the middle of this shit? You didn't think they knew? Crackers sitting up there walking under the pyramids, under the tunnels. I wonder how they saw down here. It's no soot on the walls to indicate that they used torches of any kind. What the fuck is you talking about? You think that they didn't know that, what the sand was all about? That's why the image of the sand or the hourglass is so profound, because the sand is within itself. Glass is made of sand. It's sand in the hourglass. Man, come on, man. I'm killing you niggas. That's why these crackers make movies like going Back to the Future. The past is in the back. It's not the future, but they understood that the technology that we keep, oohing and ahhing over, there's nothing new under the sun. Remember, the technology is merely just the manipulation of the electromagnetic spectrum that comes from the sun. The microwaves, the radio waves, the infrared waves, UV light, X-rays, gamma rays, that spectrum, that's what comes. Remember, it's all one spectrum, just that those are different manifestations of the same phenomenon. That's what the electromagnetic spectrum is. Okay, so what you have is that, as we go off, let's go off into this article, but I'm showing you how even within an article, outside of, the conflict, you start to see other stuff hidden. And you have to know that. You have to know what's going on around you. I mean, so many people, like I said, we hear these terms thrown around and we have no clue of what they are. But we walk around with the illusion of intelligence. We say, oh, I know. I know of it. I think I know. No, you don't know. You don't know a damn thing. All right. So let's go on and read some of this. It says a former Theranos employee said that he had been told Gibbon was asked to stay home by Holmes due to the fact that he continually pointed out things that were not working with the company's inventions. So, but first, before I do that, hold on, let me make sure I read these bullet points before I do that. Okay. Elizabeth Holmes, 37, was convicted on 4 counts of fraud in court on Monday. She had claimed to have developed a miracle automated blood testing device. Holmes named biochemist Dr. Ian Gibbons the company's lead scientist in 2005. But Gibbons realized that there was no such wonder cure and overdosed in May 2013. She faces over 20 years in jail through though legal experts say she can get a lesser term. Dr. Gibbons' widow, Rochelle, said she was concerned Holmes could be spared jail. Now, what's so interesting about, all of this is that supposedly he, like they said, committed suicide. But, when we read this article, what does our reading comprehension tell us? This is what, like I said, the question that I asked myself. What does our true mind tell us, right? It says when he realized, he says Ian would be, this is what his wife says. It says Ian would be very happy. He was very kind, tolerant person, but he hated her so much. She was a sociopath, a narcissist, a bully, and a liar. That's the Blanco scientist. When he realized she was pushing things on patients that were fraudulent, it destroyed him. Mrs. Gibbons knew Holmes in the early years of Theranos before she reinvented herself to appeal to would-be Silicon Valley investors, losing weight, dyeing her mousy brown hair blonde, cultivating a lower male-like voice, favoring black turtlenecks as Jobs did, and developing a far more flamboyant personality. While Rochelle Gibbons says she believes Holmes genuinely believed in a miracle product for a very brief time, she fatally came to fall for her own hype. She couldn't escape her persona as a wonderkind and got sucked into it, she said. Gibbons was the first experienced scientist hired by Theranos and an expert in the field of blood testing, having patented a mechanism for mixing and diluting blood that was a crucial part of the company's technology. He began working at Theranos in 2005, and the Cambridge-educated biochemist shared the rights to a number of patents with Holmes. It is believed by most people that it was Gibbons who did all the work to obtain these patents, to which Holmes would simply attach her name. So you got him, now, why would he commit suicide? It's like, oh, well, he got fired. He committed suicide because he was upset. Why would I commit suicide and be mad if I get fired when I own most of the, I got, rights to most of this shit? It makes no sense. You see what I'm saying? Like they say, all she was doing was tagging her name, and it was the first experienced scientist that she hired. Now, when these so-called scientists begin to see this mumbo jumbo for what it really is, because they know that the only progress that they make is when they're reverse engineering nature. Okay? That's the only time they make true progress. So when they go up there and really try to do some shit, it's hocus pocus, it's magic. And then you have some with a conscience that say, man, this is some fucking garbage. But look, lo and behold, you can see I captured a photo. Did I capture this photo? Who is that she's sitting next to? Biden. She's sitting next to Biden. Oh, he was happy. Remember these vampires? Oh, you got a blood machine? I can mix shit and do shit just off a prick of blood, and we can see who carries what? What? We investing in that shit. All the vampires came out with their money. Silicon Valley came out with the big brand. Vampires came out all sorts of caves, nigga, jumping from the Andes, the Himalayan mountains, nigga, everywhere. But they thought this bitch had that gold mine. And that bitch knew she could cater to them vampires. Like, look, I got a machine. Y'all get the blood. I can test it. I can see whether, did you come out with the best quality and blah. Oh, man, vampires came out. So if they was able to be tricked by a fraud, because there's no such thing as a Blanco scientist. So as soon as she said she was a scientist, you should have known she was a fraud. So if she was able to convince multi-millionaires, billionaires, presidents, what do you think can happen with a damn pandemic? If a motherfucker could come out of the blue who dropped out of school, okay, and could convince motherfuckers, that's why she didn't hire nobody who knew or who had any real scientific background. The guy who committed suicide was the first real scientist she hired. If you want to, I use real with quotations. So this is what I'm talking about. Nailed in the coffin. No such thing as a Blanco scientist, because there's no such thing as Blanco science. Only natural science that we call organic chemistry, which this matrix is built off of. Hands down. So it's not that I get, feel some type of way when people come to me, I still look at people. I still, because you can learn from everybody. So it's not like I don't even take a look at those things. I'm just saying I get as passionate as those Hebrew Israelites because I see these people telling our story. And our story is chemistry. Okay? So that's what you need to know. Now, let's move on. Because we got that heat, man. We're so sad we just really get started. Because what we want to do is what we want to show you is that, remember we talked about you walking around with the illusion of intelligence. And this right here is going to bleed into whether or not the black woman is God. Oh, it's because I know some of y'all been waiting. Like, when are you going to get to that? Oh, I'm getting to the meat. You know what I'm saying? Because first I want to ask you some questions to show you how you walking around thinking you know some shit. You know what I'm saying? So if I was to ask you this question, I know what's going to happen. You're going to be like most people. You're going to, give me an example of it. And then if you don't do that, you're going to tell me what it has. And that's not going to be sufficient enough. And so when I give you the right definition or the scientific definition of it, then I'm finna see whether or not that's what you thought it was. So I'm finna ask you a question. And the question is this. What is a fruit? What is a fruit? Give you a little time to think about it.
I don't want to know what, I want to know the technical definition of it. I don't want you to say apples, oranges, bananas, and tomatoes and shit. I don't want you to say that. I want you to, what is a fruit? And, I know probably some of you saying there's something that bears seeds. What is a fruit? I'm asking you again. Now, when I give you this definition, because we ain't got time to play no games. This ain't no Are You Smarter Than the Fifth Grader rendition. But I'm going to give you this definition, and I'm going to see whether or not it was even close to what you was thinking about, right? You know what I'm saying? So we're going to, and we're going to get it from the Encyclopedia Britannica. So we're going to show you how, like I said, one, everything is hidden in plain sight. Ain't nothing hidden from you. Nothing's hidden from you. They're just compartmentalized, and it's put into disciplines. Remember what we told you. When you're educated by these Blancos, even when they educate you on things, they give you a textbook, they issue you a textbook, whatever level, and what happens? They only teach you chapters of that shit. You never, and then they give you the book. They're like, nigga, go home and read this whole book if you want to. But you never do. You take the chapters of study, you do what you are told to do, and you leave it be. And then they know, like, yep, that compartmentalized thought, get them every time. So, what we're going to see is what a fruit is according to nature. All right, this is what's going to be important. So I really want you guys to be, to take this in. What's a fruit according to nature? All right, from the Encyclopedia Britannica. All right, Encyclopedia Britannica states that fruit. Now I want to know, be honest with me if this was what your interpretation of this of what a fruit is, right? The fleshy or dry ripened ovary of a flowering plant, enclosing the seed or seeds. And I'm gonna drop a jewel on you right now. Seed is an embryonic plant. Okay, so this, just so you know that right now. So it's like, thus, apricots, bananas, and grapes, as well as bean pods, corn, grains, tomatoes, cucumbers, and in their shells, acorns and almonds. Now remember corn, because corn's gonna be brought up a little bit later. This gonna be so smooth. And in their shells, acorns and almonds are all technically fruits. Popularly, however, the term is restricted to the ripened ovaries that are sweet and either succulent or pulpy. For treatment of the cultivation of fruits, see fruit farming. And all this different stuff. That's what it tells you to go to. So yeah, because I'll end up reading a little bit too much in that paragraph. But you get the point. The point is that a fruit is the ovaries of the plant ripened. So these bananas, apricots, like I said, these are all the ovaries. This is the sexual energy, the female energy that runs the planet, literally. So you got to understand, not only do you when that sperm fertilizes that egg in the fallopian tube and it makes its way to the uterus and implants itself in the uterine wall, and then it's fed by that blood and nurtured by the woman, and then you come out 9 months later and then you suckle on her breast. She also gives you what? The mitochondria. The mitochondria in the cell is the workhorses or the energy in the cell. Okay, this energy in that cell, allows you to, live life at an optimal level. And plus, that's what's called the mitochondria DNA, according to Blanco science, right? And that DNA can only be made inside the organelle called the mitochondria, which is given to you by the female. So not only do you develop inside of her, and then you find yourself suckling on her breast after you leave, she also gives you the energy to maintain yourself as you claim to be an individual or free. She gives you the energy to do that. Okay? This is deep. That's godlike energy. You see what I'm saying? Not to mention, according to Blanco science, the X chromosome, the female chromosomes have 900 genes in them compared to 50 in the Y chromosome. They outnumber us in the planet. Everything that we eat, like we're starting to see, the fruits, which is the most healthy foods that you can eat, come from ovaries of a female plant. That's sexual energy. You like to smoke marijuana, those are the ovaries of the female plant. Then wondering why, you feeling some type of way. Some people say, I get horny when I smoke. Because you're actually taking in sexual energy. And then it's something that the plants know what they're doing, because you can only activate THC by heat. This is, man, they're gods. And they don't run from you. They want you to take in their energy. That's why you were born in the garden. You see why now when we go back and we talk about the fruit, bearing fruit, now when you hear the commandment, God said, be fruitful. Take from this fruit and eat. Now that you know what the definition of a fruit is, when he was telling, take from these ovaries of this plant, its sexual energy, and eat and then be fruitful. Man, I am killing you niggas. So you got to know. Look, this is the question, and this begs the question, and we're going to go off into, piling on more evidence. But this begs the question. How can you go on a diet when you don't even know what food is? Now, when we take a look at, I'm going to show you another thing, just like, because this is what this Blanco does. RD.com, Food, News, and Advice. Title of it is an eggplant, a fruit, or a vegetable. Slow nanostat, updated February 14, 2022. Show you the title. Show you the article right there. All right. It says, before you whip up some eggplant and all this different stuff, we're going to, figure out whether or not it's an eggplant is a fruit or a vegetable. So is an eggplant a fruit? As always, it comes down to the technicalities. Look at these Blancos. Oh, if you want to be technical, yeah. Like the whole cocoa versus cocoa, something, whatever conversation. In this case, eggplants are considered fruits, or more specifically, berries. Yes, berries. Many fruits that come from a single flower, like eggplants and even cucumbers and melons, are classified as berries. So remember, a berry is just a fruit that comes from a single flower. But it's so, whether it's a berry, whether it's a, which is a fruit, berries, fruits, they're all, the sexual organ, the ovaries of a plant, the ripened ovaries. So why did I bring this up? Just to show you how disillusioned the male energy is when you find yourself subjected to all of the bullshit while living under a patrilineal society where they will even rob the female's energy, represent their energy as it. This is ridiculous. You see, now check this out. Why am I saying that? Because when you see people put emojis for penis size, they use the eggplant, they use the cucumber, using female energy organs to represent male genitalia. But you see how this, because we don't know shit about the food that we're around, the energy that we're around. We have no idea of what the fuck really makes this shit rotate. But man, come on, man. That's why I'm saying this is some powerful shit. You see what I'm saying? So what we're saying is that these fruits bore seeds. Okay? And then what did the Blanco do? He convinced you that just eating the ovary or the sexual organ was where all the information was. No, because remember, all of it's information. The information was in the seed. The seed was the embryonic plant where it contained all the information. Why would you, like they said, why would you take the milk when you could take the cow? Why would I be so concerned about always eating the flesh when I can take this seed? The seed got the information to make more of these. That's what you need to eat. If the actual ovary is good for you, then the seed, which can make more of those things, more of the fruit, that should be even better for you. That's why he took the seeds out the fruit. And so I'm going to ask you again. We're going to go off and we're going to go deep. We're about to go levels on this shit. What is rice? You think rice, you say brown rice, and then you're going to start thinking of rice. What different type of rice? Rice is a seed. We're not going to hold you in suspense. We're going to get off into it because we're kicking ass and taking names later. I'm about to shut this Blanco shit down in terms of science. And I'm about to show you that the black woman contains that God-like material because she is a direct and living remnant of the God that we know as these trees. The gods, that we know as trees. This plant life. It's showing you. We got it in our skin. It's been passed down to us. Eve first was a tree. She was. Okay? Now, the thing is that when we take a look at excuse me, the fruits and the seeds and stuff, when you take a look at rice, we're talking about rice. Rice is a seed, right? So what is rice? Where does rice come from? Rice comes from what's these plants or grass that bears seeds. So they call this type of grass grains, right? These are the technical or the scientific name for it is called spermatophytes. Spermatos, Greek meaning sperm or seeds, you know what I'm saying? And then phyton, which means plant. So plants that bear seeds. That's what grains are. You ever notice how you go into the grocery store and you see food that says made with whole grains or from whole grains? Man, that's why you gotta be careful. Made with and whole grain source is two totally different things. But whole grain means that the seed contains the bran, the germ, and the endosperm. The bran, the germ, and the endosperm. The bran contains most of the fiber. The germ contains the genetic information to make an entirely new plant. That's the embryonic plant. And the endosperm contains some nutrients, but it's mostly starch. So remember, when they make white rice or white flour, they take out the bran and they take out the germ. All that information. And they say, oh, yeah, we're going to put it back. Bitch, you going to put that information back in a grain of rice? Are you serious? You think the Blanco, this is where the God complex come in. You think the Blanco's so talented he could put that shit back in just the way that it was meant to be? And then call it nutrition? But it's a seed. It's interesting. Shouts out to Waba, in the UK. She's a really good friend of mine. We talk like this all the time. She's, me and her been talking for a minute. We run past these, issues. And I remember I was talking about, when I was introducing these new grains or seeds to my diet, because remember, grains are nothing but seeds. You know what I'm saying? They're called grains because that's how they categorize them, right? Because that's the plant that they come from, not what it actually is. It's the plant that it comes from. But imagine you walking around, somebody calling you your parent, by your parent's name. You're your own. These are seeds. They're new beings in and of themselves, or new entities, or new energy. But anyways, I had some, what I thought was taught by, the American school system. Thanks, American school system. I was calling it quinoa, right? And then, so I remember when we was talking, she was like, I was like, yeah, I'm putting some quinoa on my, on my salads and all this different stuff. She's like, what is that? I was like, oh, you ain't never heard of quinoa? She like, I ain't never heard of that shit. I was like, how you ain't never heard this? The Instagram, blah, blah, going off in this. So I saw her the bag. She said, oh, you mean quinoa? I was like, quinoa? Whatever. She's like, well, that's what it's called. I was like, yeah. But it was funny because she was like, and then think about that. Once again, things can be layered even by the way you express it, the name, which is deep. But, I digress. The point being is that, this was, as we were discussing it, this is how it leads us so far down, not knowing what we're actually consuming, right? So not only was I getting the name wrong, a lot of us get the idea of what this staple is. It is a seed. Rice is a seed. Okay, all these, these seeds are what carry life to be revitalized. So when we try to attempt to revitalize the body, regain health, these are the things that we're supposed to fast on. So the point that I'm trying to make is this. You were complaining about him taking seeds out of the fruit. This Blanco literally took the seeds out of the seed. He made a seedless seed. That's what white rice is. You see what I'm saying? He took the germ out of it and he took the bran out of it. Everything that was good about that seed that possessed life, he took out of it. And you'll go to the damn, Chinese restaurant right now and they'll have the nerve to even tell you, you want white rice or you want brown rice? Like, white rice is only colored rice. It's not no brown rice. You ain't even cooked no damn brown rice. You know how long it take to cook some damn brown rice? So just for convenience purposes and just because, they wanted to make a food that, had longer shelf life and all of this different stuff, that was their excuse, right? Because, corporate life matters, not Black Lives Matter. Corporate life matters because, our products wasn't being able to stay on the shelf as long as we were losing money and all. Yeah, that fucking excuse. They wanted to control the energy. So anytime that you turn on your TV and you see the manipulation of sexual energy and you see how that's why it's more popular for men to transition to women than it is for women to transition to men, because they know that this is the most popular form of energy. And you see that, you're like, oh man, what is the big deal about all this? Why are they trying to get our sexual energy and change it? Why? Because that's the nature of all the energy in this realm. It turns you to a man or a woman through puberty. When your sexual energy is low, when you got low T as a man, they start saying you become susceptible to health issues. Women too as well as they go through menopause. This sexual energy keeps you healthy. And it is what you use to maintain health. Remember, like I said, the most powerful energy you can consume to keep you healthy is sexual energy. Ovaries from a plant. Ovaries, matter of fact, let's come on, because we at school today and I got time today. It's nail and coffin day. Nail and coffin day. Look, we'll show you the anatomy of a flower. Let's go 5th grade now. It's so interesting that Paul... Remember that show, You Smarter Than the Fifth Grade? This fifth grade science. It's the reason why they teach you this shit early. Because they know that you're not going to retain this shit. If you don't go into botany, what the fuck you going to remember this shit from? We all remember this diagram in fifth grade. This is fifth grade science. Okay, they teach you this stuff early because they know if you find out about it when you're older, that's when you can make change. That's when you really can have an impact on society. You don't need to know this shit late. That's why they teach you all of this shit early. Parts of a flower. Okay, this flower contains both female and male parts, right? You know what I'm saying? So what you see what's called the pistil, not the pistil, the anther and the filament. I'm sorry. So the anther and the filament. This is the. I know y'all can see it, but I'm trying to make sure I can get this stuff on point. My camera is making me do all sorts of stuff. But this is the filament right here. This is the male sexual organ. This is the anther. The anther produces the pollen. Okay, and if this is just a male flower, the reason why that this filament holds this anther up so that when it produces the pollen, it's acceptable to wind and insects, so that the wind can blow the pollen, obviously get to the female flower, or that the insects can get the pollen and then go to the female flower. But here you see the female sexual organ, which is the pistil, which it houses the stigma, the style, and the ovary. All right, the stigma, the style, and the ovary. So the stigma catches, this is sticky substance, it catches the pollen, it makes its way down the style, right, till it gets to the ovary, and then the ovary obviously makes the fruit and the seed. Okay, and to note, this was so deep. Gynic, G-Y-N-I-C, means female. Gynics, G-Y-N-I-C-S, the field of knowledge having specific relation to women. This is where you get the term the gynecology. This is that science. Remember, they use the same science for female plants as for female women. Gynoecious, a reference to a plant having female flowers only. This is the study, that so-called science that they hide from you in plain sight. If you go into botany, you become more, familiar with it. But you start to see that female energy is the same. These ovaries, like we said before. Not only are we just talking about you being birthed with, it just goes to show like this is who the first woman had to be, because there is the anatomical design and even the way that they actually characterize these things, right? They use the same terms. And that's why you see a lot of flowers represent the vagina and all of that different stuff, because it's literally that way. You're like, oh man, that flower, and it kind of looks like a blah, blah, blah. But that's because that's what it is. All of it is hidden in plain sight. Why do you think that era was like Tulip Mania, when they was going crazy over flowers and all of this different stuff? Crazy over these trees, hiding them from the public. Telling you a story about being born in the garden. And they knew if they put the God part in there, that's what you would pay attention to. But if a tree can give a god a power, then that means that the tree possesses the godlike power or is a god itself. That's what you need to know. So, when we take a look at the fact that, we don't know what we're eating, we're going to go even further, because we're going to, like I said, it's about nails and coffins. I like to beat it down. I give a wealth of information in this motherfucker. I'm not just going to be sitting back, giving you a little bit here and there. This is from Only Foods. Get this off. Damn alerts and shit. Nuts and seeds. Okay? Only Foods. Nuts and seeds, right? It says, when you think about your favorite nut, it is highly possible that it is not really a nut at all. The term nut botanically refers to the seed of a dry fruit. See, we already know what the fruit is, right? And we know what a seed is, it's an embryonic plant. So a nut botanically refers to the seed of a dry fruit or a dry ovary. Let's continue. Where the ovary becomes hard with maturation, leaving the seed within unattached. Because remember how the seed is attached to the uterus in a female. It has to make that attachment. If it detaches itself, then there can be no birth. You see what I'm saying? So these seeds in nature, they are unattached to the organ, right? Hazelnut and chestnut are two popular examples of true nuts. So the hard shell we need to remove to get to a fleshy chestnut is actually the ovary of its fruit. Most of the other common types, including peanut, cashew, almonds, and pine nuts are actually considered seeds in botany, in organic chemistry, in nature. Still, they are counted among nuts when their culinary and edible uses are in question. So when this Blanco decides to say I'm cooking it, I'm eating it, or it's just nuts. But oh yeah, organic chemistry says, oh, they're seeds. So, but you know, that's being technical. If you want to be technical about it, you see why you can't get nowhere. You see how you can't go on a diet if you don't know what the fuck food is. This is why you fail, because you'll eat this shit. You'll eat what they tell you to eat, because that's why they can control it. Like, oh, well, yeah, I've tried being vegan. I've tried being a vegetarian. That shit don't work. Of course it's not going to work. You don't even know what you should be eating. The seeds rejuvenate you. That's why you know that the cracker took it out. So he knew by the time you started your revolution and you knew that you had to change it up, you're going to have to go to him for supplements and shit, because he was going to take it out of the food, because he knew you wasn't growing your own. This was a multifaceted approach in order to make sure that he would, you know, take away any chances from you to reach your Godhead, because the food, get ready. The food, as you can see, is the bridge, the natural bridge from the natural to the supernatural. That's why you always hear about food of the gods and all this different shit. That's why I told you about the tree and the fruit. Eating from this tree would turn you into a god. It's right here in plain sight. Oh, we finna go, man. Matter of fact, let's drop another bomb right quick before we go off into a very powerful statement I'm about to make. All right, we're about to show a video. You know, the scientists who end up exposing a company, an agribusiness, obviously, who came up with a chemical called atrazine. Syngenta was the company's name, and they showed that it had ill effects in males, you know, because of the high amount of estrogen and stuff, and they knew that. And this is the pesticide, or herbicide rather, that is used for corn, and what corn is a fruit. The seeds of corn are called kernels. But you notice, you just pop popcorn, you don't care about it. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying, that you don't know what you're eating. You see what I'm saying? But this is, and I'm going to go so deep on this, but like I said, 1976 Copyright Act, Section 107, allowances made for fair use for the purposes of commentary, criticism, news reporting, scholarship, but overall here at the FOF Squad, waking your ass up. So let's get to this video. It's an amazing video. It's an amazing video. This brother, you know, and he said something powerful in there too. So I want you guys to be able to catch it. Be like, Bobby Hemming, y'all all right? I hope y'all all right. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, like your boy, an hour and 10 in, I know y'all like, oh, this nigga, what happened to that? I told y'all I was going to get rid of them half an hour. I told y'all lives coming, all that different shit. It's just things coming on its own time, but I'm coming back with that heat. I'm coming back with that heat. So, you know. Told you, man. What y'all, you thought I was playing when I said get your pen and pad ready? We about to be throwing out some heat.
You'll always remember buying your first car.
Okay.
But the things that last a lifetime, like happiness, love, and confidence,
I can't stand this shit.
But you can invest in them. At T. Rowe Price, our strategic investing approach.
Well, let's see something. Was this it? Yeah. All right.
Public relations team draft.
So let's go.
I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. We've been with you for 18 years as we turn to another story.
Yes, now we turn to the story of a University of California scientist who discovered that a popular herbicide may have harmful effects on the endocrine system. Tyrone Hayes was first hired in 1997 by a company that later became agribusiness giant Syngenta. They asked him to study their product, atrazine, a pesticide that is applied to more than half the corn crops in the United States and widely used on golf courses and Christmas tree farms. But after Hayes found results that the manufacturer did not expect, that atrazine causes sexual abnormalities in frogs and could cause the same problems for humans, Syngenta refused to allow him to publish his work. This was the start of an epic feud between the scientist and the corporation.
Now a new article in the New Yorker magazine uses court documents from a class action lawsuit against Syngenta to show how it sought to prevent the Environmental Protection Agency from banning the profitable chemical, which is already banned by the European Union. To start with, the company's public relations team...
So now you got to understand. Now you got a backdrop. So we're going to go... He's at, doing TED Talks. We're going to play like the last couple of minutes of his speech. eccentric brother, he be wearing purple on his fingernails and all that. But hey, our scientists, our natural scientists, we can't hate how they come. Like we said, how the sources come, that's just how they come. But yeah, let me play the last couple minutes of this brother's speech. And you guys, and so because he said something real powerful, I thought was real powerful. Because I'd actually listened to the whole video, watched the whole video. Let's see. Let's get to all right, right here.
Tell you, these are the counties, the 30% that makes us the 5th largest economy in the world. What if I plot onto that the 30 poorest towns in California? Environmental justice. So the people who make us the 5th largest economy in the world are the same people who are paying that cost that the EPA talks about. And so when I thought about this as a little boy who likes frogs, it motivated me to cross the line, so to speak. Crossing that line cost me. The chemical manufacturers set out to discredit me with personal attacks. They said, hey, he's biologists turned activists. Turned activist. And turn. You can't be a scientist and an activist. They tried to discredit me, but when they were interviewed by New Yorker magazine, they said it simply wasn't true. I must be crazy. I must be making it up. They said, and I quote, I am troubled by a suggestion that we have ever tried to discredit anyone. Our focus has always been on communicating the science and setting the record straight. I am troubled at the suggestion that we've ever tried to discredit anyone. Where on earth would I have gotten the idea that they tried to discredit me? Well, it turns out they settled out of court a $105 million lawsuit. And all their secret, like how we're going to get Tyrone notes, came out from their meetings.
Why the
Their
hell?
strategy became public. And look what the first goal of the science was in their program. Where on earth did anybody get the idea that they would ever try to discredit anyone? I had to make a change. Academia, my advisor told me, don't be an advocate, let the science speak for itself. But I had to think about this, that we're being rewarded in the ivory tower, promoted for publishing things that the public doesn't have access to. I changed my mind about this philosophy because Syngenta, the company, says on their website, they assume no obligation to update forward-looking statements to reflect actual results. Pardon my language, but who says shit like that? But what concerned me more is that the EPA says that the ultimate decision of whether or not to ban atrazine is much bigger than science. It weighs in public opinion. And I thought the EPA is counting on my mom, the EPA is counting on you to help it make its decision, and I'm publishing my work in journals that you can't get in Barnes & Noble. We have to change the way we do things in the ivory tower. There's a philosophy by a great thinker that goes like this: those who have the privilege to know have the duty to act. This guy said that, by the way, and I didn't grow up privileged. I don't know about you. All I know is that now I'm here. Now you are here. You are privileged and you have a duty. And I've reasoned that we can change the past, but only if we act now, while it is still the future.
Brother went ham a little bit. He said you can't be a scientist and an activist at the same time, because in Blanco science, it just don't go hand in hand. We're not here to look out for the people. We're not here to look out for the people. And like he said, remember what I told you before? I said, what does it matter if they're making all of this progress in these scientific fields and endeavors, and then they don't really let you know about it, and they don't change the curriculum? They still got you, but thinking about some made up bullshit pseudoscience shit that they taught you, and we still try to wrap our heads around that. That's why this shit is so deadly. That's extreme. And like he said before, he's like, you're here. Remember we said earlier, and I said, as this, when it started off, that we can't let people trivialize our efforts into acquiring more knowledge. They do it, right? We can't let people think that, make us think that we have no shot, or it's too big for us, or the world's too big. They continuously make you feel small. Don't let the world make you small, insignificant, as if these obstacles are insurmountable. Don't allow them to do that because you're here. Like he said, if you're privileged, to be here, do something about it. You should act. If you got the knowledge, you know what I'm saying, it's your responsibility to act. And then what goes, let's do this on another level because we love to get deep. What it says is that you think about the chemicals that they were using, adulterating the corn with, right, to have an impact on the sex of, or the sexual behavior of human beings, right? But this is what's deep. This is where I try to get you to go even deeper. Remember, we've already established that this food is already sexual energy. See what I'm saying? So it's them reverse engineering nature. They put something in nature to tweak it and be like, oh, okay, this is going to, because we know chemicals compete for absorption, just like organisms compete, in their environment. You see what I'm saying? So they what they did was manipulate the sexual energy, and we got to understand it's already sexual energy to begin with. So we're like, oh, they putting hormones in the food, they doing this, that, and the other, the hormones and stuff, and that's what food is. What you think gets you or helps you to click on into puberty. You're eating the food. If you're eating, that's why I said make sure your kid gets his fruits and vegetables. Make sure your kids get that sexual energy from Mother Earth so that they can grow up to be big and strong. Man, I am killing you niggas. See why you can't look at sexual energy the way they look at it? It's a huge responsibility because it is, the energy should not be made one-dimensional. And this is the energy that the black woman carries and gives to you because this is the energy that she had got from Mother Nature. Okay? Which the vast majority of Mother Nature energy and power comes from these trees. And we know this to be, and see, we can probably, sit up there and go off into third and fourth, fifth levels of who those creators were, but it's not our job. Our job is to get closer to the truth. And we get closer to the truth by understanding that this is something that we can hold on to. This is something that we can connect with. We know it. It's measurable. We see it in our skin. It's in every part of our body. And we know it to be decomposed plant material. And we can see the plants and we can see the vegetation around us. We can interact with it. This is not something that you should be, get out of the, your own imagination sometimes. Go out there and interact with nature. You see what I'm saying? And it'll show you like this is the energy that should be inside you because what I'm leading it to is the most powerful concept you should take out of this. If you don't take nothing out of this segment, this is what you should take out of it. This is what shows you that they make a concerted effort. I'm going to read an article to you just to kind of go off into exactly what point that I'm trying to make. To hit home or put a nail in a coffin, like I like to say, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna read this article just to show you exactly what I'm talking about and where I'm going to, just to show you how they rob you of your power. And this was their intent. It's from Science News. It was published February 22nd, 2022. It's entitled Study: Meat Consumption is Positively Associated with Life Expectancy. Now, where did these blancos come from? It states right here under the article, it says a team of scientists from Australia, Italy, Poland, and Switzerland has examined the association between meat intake and life expectancy at a population level based on ecological data published by the United Nations agencies. Okay? And then it goes on to say, over the last 50 years, although the associations between meat eating and illness are circumstantial and controversial to some extent, they have prompted the spread of vegetarianism and veganism based on the assumption that non-meat diets provide more health benefits than diets that include meat. Moreover, it has been argued that vegetarianism and veganism form a part of trendy Western consumerist lifestyles, only accessible to privileged white people. Vegetarianism that has been prevalent in Western countries has been subject to prejudice, low self-esteem, and low psychological adjustment. This is crazy talk. Do you know why this is so crazy? Is because, like they're saying, they're like, well, what people have been saying about meat is untrue. This is where you get your protein from. Remember, because the idea of health is built on this protein myth. You see what I'm saying? And so it says, where are you going to get your protein from? Where are you going to get your iron from if you're consuming plants? And the crazy part about it is that they also tried to associate this lifestyle with white folks, with blancos. Now, this is what's deep. I'm about to throw sledgehammers at this consciousness shit right now. First, they try to let you feel like they're like white folks are the ones that have this connection with nature. Whether you buy into it because they could afford to have this connection with nature or because you think that they gods and they got this connection with nature, matters neither. The point being is that the damage is already done. You think that they got this connection with nature and that they can be in nature. What I'm saying to you is that these blancos will go to miles to prove to you that they are just like you, that they are normal just like you. They would do anything to prove that to you. Even by going, we notice, I'll give you a prime example. You go to the beach, 90, 100-degree days, you see white folks out there, white girls out there in their bikinis and stuff. You know what I'm saying? White people out there, they out in the sun just like you. You're like, oh, this shit's normal. You know, you look at it as a normal thing. Matter of fact, you know, talking with people and it's a good day. But at the end of the day, if it's too much sun exposure for them, what happens? They go home with these burns. They go home and the next morning their skin is peeling. They worry about whether or not there's going to be irregular mold popping up. All of this different shit. So they can fake the funk, even to the point where, like we said, the same thing goes with the veganism in its truest form. When you consuming these dark green leaves, what is the principal responsibility of those dark green leaves? To absorb the sun's radiation. It's called photosynthesis. The darker the green, the more radiation. And we know what these blancos is with radiation. They can't handle it. So if they can't be out in the sun, how can you consume food that holds the sun? I am killing you niggas. So eventually they get sick. That's why you notice they always mix their vegan diet of veganism with cheese and dairy. They always got to go back to the cow. You see what I'm saying? Some of them don't do raw. That's why I told y'all, being vegan, the extreme form of veganism is raw veganism, where you don't cook the nutrients. Especially when you're consuming seeds, you chew them, you eat them raw, you get all that information. You see what I'm saying? So this is the point, like they've been faking the funk. And that's what I'm trying to get you to understand, and that they pride. And this is the other heavy concept. This is one of the reasons why they put meat eaters at the top of the food chain, even with animals. Lions and tigers and all of these, like, oh, who's stronger, the lion or the tiger if they fight? Bitch, who's stronger if a lion and a bull fight? Bitch, who's stronger if a tiger and an elephant fight? These herbivores. And see, this is the thing too. You got to understand, when these animals eat just plants, their food is not running from them. You know, I'll stop eating plants when I see a grass running from a cow. They food don't run from them. This is why you have low, the life expectancy is very short for carnivores. This is why, they end up being, living life of solitude. Look how lonely their life be. Look how social herbivores are for the most part. Yeah, there are some carnivores that hunt in packs, but that's because, like you said, they have to. When your food is everywhere, you don't have to be around somebody. You see, carnivores, because they food so scarce, they abort their babies after a certain time. You're on your own. It's hard out here, bitch. It's hard. Notice that shows up in the concrete jungle. That's how they make it. Dog eat dog. Carnivore mentality. This is the basis of your social apparatus. I am killing you niggas. They have to prove to you that by eating the godlike energy, you will be weak. Now notice, if a person is 300 pounds, they in the gym and they lifting can they lift the 300 pounds? If you see somebody with 300 pounds, you ain't gonna automatically assume they can go in the gym and lift 300 pounds. Matter of fact, you're gonna think the opposite. You're gonna be like, nigga, you need to get in shape. But an elephant is big, and some people say, I eat like an elephant. How? An elephant can move cars out the way. You ever seen a stampede? You getting out the fucking way. You seen them bulls when they run? You get out the fucking way. Herbivores, God power. That's what you need to know. So I'm asking you, how can we liberate ourselves when we're under Blanco science? Impossible. And the food is the bridge. These animals are showing you the myth of protein explodes, all that different shit. And these crackers will sit up there and say, oh, well, yeah, you got to eat meat, but look at the meat that I'm eating. It's grass-fed. Okay, bitch. So what's the point? So why do I want to eat the meat? Why not just get the grass? That's what they eating. And so much so that you know what I'm saying? These herbivores are huge. You seen a moose before? Have you seen a bison? Full-grown deer, elks. Herbivores are beasts. That's why you see that these hunters of meat, they got to take the small. You always see they running after the babies and shit. They don't even go after the adults. They wouldn't dare. Kicked by a damn zebra, lifted up by hit by a hippopotamus. The jaws of a hippopotamus. You ain't fucking with herbivores. All that power that Mother Nature gives them. I am killing you niggas. That's all. I told y'all this shit was going to be powerful. It's supposed to change the way that you think about this shit. Like we said, if we can't encourage a paradigm shift, then all is for naught. You know what I'm saying? One of the things that I want to kind of let y'all know, it just goes to show how powerful this is, because we always associate, the body, the physical body. We say it's a physical body. Remember, I told y'all, Nina J. Jablonski, get that book, Skin. It's entitled Skin by Nina G. Jablonski, and professor of anthropology, I believe, at the University of California. Maybe, wrong on that, but I do know she's a professor, obviously, of anthropology. But the thing is that she was talking about, what was it? The main responsibility of skin is to absorb light. One of the main responsibilities of your blood is to absorb light. How you think they test your blood, your baby's blood? They shoot light at it. The light that comes back gives them the information that they know or need to know. You see what I'm saying? So this is what I'm saying. Like, you absorb, you absorbing this light. That's your primary responsibility. So your physical, this organ has a special responsibility, not just being the interface between you and your outside world. Its primary responsibility is to absorb that solar radiation and convert it into energy, and so that you can esteem yourself to the highest level of awareness. That's the whole point of it. If you notice, I would say it just goes to show you the same thing with the baby. Okay, this was from Baby Gaga. 15 bizarre facts about what babies can see in the womb. It says, it doesn't take an expert to say that the womb is a dark place. Apart from our skin and muscles blocking off any light, the uterus is surrounded by large bones with thickened ligaments, which not only help hold the weight of the fetus, but also prevent light from flooding inside. So imagine this, it's surrounded by large bones, thickened ligaments, you know what I'm saying, to prevent light from coming inside, not to mention the woman's skin. Okay? According to various studies, a fetus' eyes begin functioning inside the womb despite the fact that it is extremely dark. Pause! Now, the very organs that you use to interpret light information are formed in utter darkness. Make it make sense. Are formed in utter darkness. And the only thing it's going to do is it's a number, like I said, it talks about how women, flash lights at their babies and stuff. If you ever get, because I did the 4D thing, the mother of my child, she wanted to see how our baby looked in 4D and all of this different stuff. Well, the one, she was just so hung up on it, but I do got those photos still. Phenomenal photos, I think, though, too. But, the thing is, when they get under that light, or you do ultrasound, some of the babies that put their hand in front of their face and all that different stuff. Even with flashlights, you see them kicking around, or the woman to feel them kicking around sometimes, moving and stuff like that, because it can see the light. Remember, the retina and all that stuff is just wide open. The retina is what controls light, the amount of light that you have, and it's just a whole bunch of melanin. This is how sensitive the melanin is. They can see through all the ligaments, all the bones, and the skin. A baby sees you at your spiritual level. This is deep, at your chakra level. You flashing light at it, even your skin, mind you, your skin is meant to absorb light. Her skin is meant to absorb light. Then she got all these ligaments, then she got all these bones, then she got all of this, cells and everything else that absorb light. And the baby's still like, oh, that's too bright. Eyes developing in total darkness. And you telling me this woman doesn't contain godlike energy? Nail in a coffin. So, we need to get off of that. Like I told y'all before I showed y'all the pictures, I'm like, that's what it's all about. We got to understand that if there were the original people, they came from, the gods, that we call the trees, even if it was so much as though they just changed up the creation story, took it from the ground. What's in the ground? The roots and grass and seed, carbon matter. You know what I'm saying? But we know, like we said, we've already substantiated that the most potent form of carbon is found in these trees. That's why they placed you in the garden and all of this. This is why you have the symbiotic relationship with them. They give off the oxygen, you give them carbon dioxide. There's this constant relationship that you have with them. It isn't just like they birthed you out and left you alone. Mother Nature constantly nurtures you. Constantly. Her female energy constantly nurtures you. This is extremely important, and we got to understand these things, because if we don't, we're going to get lost and we're going to be suffering, because a lot of us have fallen victim to sitting up there thinking we have a complete worldview when we're really just working off compartmentalized information. And so we want to make sure that we abstain from that, right? Because then we come closer to the truth and truly liberating ourselves. So I had another video I think that I wanted to show you guys. So hold on for a second. Hold on for 1 second. Yeah, hold on for 1 second right now. But we bringing the heat. Bringing the heat on these bad boys right now. That's what we doing. That's what we doing. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what we doing. So hold up. Hold up. Hold up. So yeah, you know, and then when we talk about these current events and stuff, you know, before I show that, you know, what's going on with Ukraine and Russia. What's interesting, which I thought was very interesting, is that it's actually going back to where it started with them, right? The Caucasus Mountain regions, that mountainous isthmus that they call, you know, the Caucasus Mountains and stuff, separated, you know, well, it's in between the Caspian Sea and the Black Sea. So over by the Black Sea is where you got Ukraine. And then this is what we talked about with the social sciences. Remember, we have to absolve ourselves of their sciences. That means the political sciences. The political sciences will dictate how they interact with each other once they, you know, claim sovereignty. You got the social sciences. This is what's helped to esteem white people so that they can put a premium on their life. You see, then you got the health sciences. These sciences are what's allowed us to go this far into a pandemic. You see what I'm saying? Their sciences is what's gotten us in it's gotten us in this much trouble. Remember, science is only Latin. The Latin word, it comes from the Latin word scientia, which means to know. What they know ain't shit. It's all fraudulent. It has no legs to stand on. We need to get rid of it. You see what I'm saying? Because their social sciences, like we said, which put a premium on them. Now think about this. First World War. I mean, this is just amazing to me. A world war where they like, I've even heard someone come over like, they're like, well, you know, we want the UN and the United States to, you know, issue out a no-fly zone, you know, around Ukraine and stuff. And they're like, well, if we do that, that's gonna start off a nuclear war. We're already in World War III. They're like, come save us, fight for us. We don't give a fuck, and we don't know who these people are. But what we know is that they're begging for this shit, and they want you to beg for it, because just like all the world wars before, it was always taught that we wasn't gonna get involved, and we end up getting involved. So you know it's inevitable. You know that all that's the overplay for the underplay. They want you to participate in the ritual. And unfortunately, the reason why they're able to do this is because we bought into the science. You know, even like we talk about their earth science, okay? When they talk about earth and they show us these maps telling us how the earth looks, this is important. And we know for a fact, like we went over this, that you can fit four continental United States inside the continent of Africa. All right? But yet, you associate size with importance. They call Europe a continent. Okay, which is ridiculous. You see what I'm saying? And so they make these countries look huge, and then the countries that warring with Iran and North Korea and all of this different stuff, who, you know, and China and Russia. Come on, man. You know, like we said, and much of the land that they around is uninhabitable. You know what I'm saying? So when you're talking about Africa, it's like, why in the hell are they not taken into consideration? Because they don't consider you a part of the world. Remember what their classification is from a geopolitical standpoint. You're full of third world countries. During World War I, South Africa was the only one to get involved, but they was ran by Blancos. Once the Blancos relieved themselves of the power, which they really didn't, you know, nominal in nature, you know what I'm saying, the power that these so-called Africans have down in those regions and stuff. But when they relieved themselves of power, then their nuclear capability had left along with them. So you got to think about this, that big-ass continent, no nuclear capabilities whatsoever. Countries this small, countries the size of Florida like Iran and Iraq, no bigger than California, got nuclear capabilities? This shit is insane. And once they go to war, we all got to go to war. Blanco go to war, we all got to go to war. And it just matters world peace. But yet atrocities and genocide can go, you know, can just run amok and run rampant in that continent, and nobody say shit. Nobody say shit. UN don't get rattled at all. Because of the sciences, this is what has led to this type of, you know, eventuality, because we continue to keep bolstering their sciences, you know, using it to explain ourselves, using it to cultivate our worldviews, using it to justify why we do some things. Now you know a little bit better. You know more. You see what I'm saying? You can't allow this individual to sit up there and throw melanated people into destroying or participating in a ritual where you start off the destruction of Mother Earth. This is ridiculous. So this is very important for us to understand. We can't allow them to continue to keep doing this. And while they're doing it, they're controlling the sexual energy, manipulating it, trying to, reverse engineering the technology, coming out with things, making it seem as if, they're learning. Oh yeah, we got 5G, we got this. Remember, they're just manipulating different parts of the spectrum. The radio waves give you your radio communication. Microwaves give you your cell phones. We went over this. They're just manipulating the sun's energy. That's the only thing that they're doing. Manipulating the sun's energy, what you can do naturally. I don't want them to talk about no more about, now we get into the realm where, artificial telepathy will be, a possibility. Those microchips, now you can just call somebody and just thinking about it. Well, you could do that naturally. But see, this is what I'm saying. We're allowing them to take away our gifts, give them back to us so that they're in control of it. So if we present ourselves as a threat, we'll be exterminated if we even make it to that point. This is what's so devastating about the position that we're in. We don't know nothing about, we're all walking around here with the illusion of intelligence. We all assume that we know about our surroundings and we have no fucking clue. We make sexual energy one-dimensional when it spurs us into adulthood, when it's the basis of our health. You understand what I'm saying? It's just not about when you watch porn and violent movies. Get out of that. If that's how you always taking in sexual energy, then it's always going to be corrupted. Of course you're going to be wanting to fast from that shit. Who wouldn't want to? That's too much. You got people who even tell you they're addicted to porn. They'll watch porn so much they don't even get turned on by it. That shows you that's something that says a lot. So we got to understand, man, there's levels to this shit, levels of meaning. We can't allow people to liberally use these concepts to lead us astray. And, we get so proud of these guys like, oh, yeah, it is, yeah, black power. And, whether we can come to a God. No, I'm showing you the bridge. The bridge that you get to that level is through the food and the fasting, taking a break from, Mother Nature energy, letting it work, letting it manifest itself, letting it re-engineer the organism as you see fit. That's why, like we said, nature has been outlawed. We took a look at marijuana and all of that different stuff. Remember, like we said, the bud or the sinsemilla without seeds, okay, is a sexual organ. It's her ovaries that you're lighting up. You know what I'm saying? So that's truly important for you to understand. It's like everything that keep helps us to enjoy stuff, and even the fruits and stuff that we make. We take our fruits and make wines out of them. Now you're drinking after it's manipulated by an organism. You begin drinking that sexual organs, wines and spirits. Then when you wonder why you get drunk, you feel in the type of way. Women feel like they get horny when they get drunk. I wonder why. You drinking sexual energy in its most potent form. I am killing you niggas. So think about now the whole thing of this Jesus turning water to wine. You see what I'm saying? All these things now have new meaning, or they should have new meaning to you, or you're just spiritually dead. Like I said, this is for the chosen. This should have you pumped up into understanding exactly what the hell is going on. Redefining life. No longer looking through life through the lens, artificially, but looking through life through the lens of nature. Arguments over. We ain't got to argue with this Blanco about who was in Egypt. And now think about this. Look at the audacity of this Blanco. He telling you, oh, yeah, wait on God and who God is. He making images of God. He telling you what God may look like, but can't even tell you what the Egyptians look like. If you can't tell me what humans look like 2,000-3,000 years ago, how the hell am I gonna believe you when you tell me what God looked like? We got to do better. We got to do better. You see what I'm saying? You understand who your parents are. You see these connections. You see why, like Maya Angelou talked about how those trees were, hanging strange fruit. Why they started to hang you on trees. You know, you got to understand the connection between you and nature. You call it Mother Nature for a reason, motherland, the energy. You know, you waiting on the mothership, whatever type of energy you characterize. Usually it's a female energy, and we're showing you not out of all of that stuff. Sometimes we get too much into the esoteric. Sometimes all you got to do is simplify it. Are your fundamentals correct? I don't give a fuck if you get a motherfucker who shoot from half court. Because you're only going to make them, you know, a small percentage of the time. But yeah, I need you to know how to make layups and shit, pass the ball and dribble. Where are the fundamentals? Like, we get these people in the cons community, you know, you so ooh and ah with them when they start talking about all of this half-court jumper shit that they can do. But then they can't make a layup. They're not productive in all of the fundamental ways and shit. So that you can have a sound team. So we can win championships because we gods. That's literally what we are. I've proven that to you through the science. This is nails and coffin shit. I'm telling you, this is the only way, you know, that we're going to be able to repair ourselves is to get rid of their science altogether in every area of life activity. Period. Because other than that, they will be able to steer the course of humanity down a path of destruction that they have articulated as the sixth wave of extinction. We got to stop trying to make light of this shit by sitting up here ignoring it. Oh, what black men and black women need to do in the next 10 to 20 years. Blanco said he bailing out. He say shit, he getting off the ship. And we still sitting up here trying to figure out how we can cover up the holes. That just makes no sense to me. You see what I'm saying? Like I said, those who embrace nature, who sit up there and champion our story, I got no problem with them. But then they have to admit, like we said, at some point in time, there has to be action. And those who can take action are those who are, you know, who have an affinity for the energy. And that'd be carbon-based beings. Start connecting with Mother Nature, your plants, your trees. Become a tree hugger. Understand me? Look at the food that you're eating. You're saying you're thankful for it. It is the sexual energy that the Most High had provided for you. Her sexual energy which keeps you alive. It is the nature of this realm. Now you know why all of this stuff is being shrouded in mystery and dead languages and stuff like that, because they don't want you to understand the energy that they have been, manipulating since their conception, and why they continue to do so. So like I said before, this is how we start off repairing ourselves. You want to get back and connect back to nature, you start getting the seeds. You start getting the seeds, you consume those seeds. That's why they took them out of the fruits or the ovaries. Yeah, it's some information in that ovary, that sexual organ, but all the information that you needed was in that seed. That's why they took it out. And they don't want you having them. That's why they took control over big agribusiness, all that, you know, and then we making our own seeds now. And Mother Nature was doing too much, giving y'all too much energy, too much information. And before you knew the significance of it, before you knew the importance of it, he had it out of your foods. Had it out of your food. So I'm telling you, like I said before again, how in the hell can you go on a proper diet when you don't know what food is? Even when it comes to stuff like this, I know I've even promoted it. I got it, because I'm going to show you guys this. Where did I put that? Where did I put it? Oh, okay, it's right behind me. I say hidden in plain sight. But, you know, we're all big, some of us are huge fans of chlorophyll, right? So, and this is chemistry. I'm going to give y'all a little, you know, what you would see, some of them have the active ingredient is chlorophyllin, copper. Okay, you'll see that. See chlorophyllin. Now, if you're most of the time, that's the this is the brand that's the type of chlorophyll most people get. The reason being is because chlorophyll is not water soluble. Chlorophyll is fat soluble. It likes to absorb itself in fat. So what the Blanco did was he went in his lab. Okay, because he knew you was going to start going back and being conscious and wanted to, and you knew that this chlorophyll was a reduced porphyrin ring. You know, and just to be brief, your hemoglobin, heme is the organic ring, right? Globin is the protein. So heme is an organic ring that absorbs light. All right, and heme is seen as a collection of porphyrin rings, and those porphyrin rings break down to what's called P-row units. You don't have to remember that, but the base of all of that is carbon. So it's this carbon ring that absorbs light. And in our hemoglobin in the center is iron, right? In plants, it's magnesium. Well, what they do is they put this shit in the lab, and they take the magnesium out of its core. okay, and replace it with copper, and also cut off the fat-loving tail of the molecule, and then hence that's what makes chlorophyll water soluble. See what I'm saying? But you know, like I said, if you have a good effect, like I still have this stuff around. I take it, you know, and mix it with different stuff. Use it, you know, as like a damn near like a, you know, herbalist and shit. But I'm letting y'all know, like, just be careful, you know, long term. They know what they're doing, you know, because when you change up the elements, you change up the function of the product. You have to understand that. You change up the function of the product. That's why I tell you it's nothing better than eating whole foods. And those whole foods, the where you're getting the most of the sun's energy is from those leaves. Remember I told you, even when it comes to this water absorbs carbon. Remember, the sun is spitting out carbon. Remember, I exposed it to you in the book. They're talking about after a series of chemical reactions, the sun then turns into carbon. Now, that's a carbon star. I'm gonna go out. That's going to be the next powerful video. If you read the book, you know that even they came out with a article a while back, and it talked about how they said that our sun, when it burns, it turns to a white dwarf. White dwarf turns into a diamond. It'll literally be a diamond in the sky. Okay, so I'm telling you guys that this is a carbon base. That's why you get darker when you absorb more of the carbon. Okay, and so you have to understand that these individuals know that. They know that. You know, they're well aware of that. And so we get so caught up into thinking that they don't know about the carbon, that, you know, and then we don't really know about it because we don't have strict definitions of it. Okay? So that's a carbon star out there. All right? And so we know with this, all of this energy, this carbon, even in the water, when it's absorbed in the water, okay, they take the water, they bathe in this water, and that's why you see a lot of, you'll hear some, remember it went viral a while back, you see some Blanca women's like, well, we don't take showers, some Blanca men, we don't take, a lot of them don't know why they don't even take showers, because they can't even be in the water. It has a lot of carbon and radiation in it. Then when you heat it up, that's added radiation. Everything has to be done, with very carefully when it comes to them in their existence. See, you're getting caught up in the illusion. You know, you see them with the glasses and all of that different stuff, the tinted windows and all of that, and then you get, the big buildings that they have to get in because, remember that carbon with iron creates steel. Carbon absorbs heat. Carbon, that's in cotton. 45% of cotton is carbon. That's why they wanted to make all their clothes out of carbon to absorb the heat. All of this to make them appear normal. Now, this is just nature. And remember, like I said, when Arnold Ehret and all of these, Blanco came to you talking about that this is just nature, he sounded damn near like me, but it's just like, it sounds cruel, but why are we sitting up here? I'm not here to water down truth. This is facts and shit. You let us know about our facts all the time in terms of where we stand in this society. All blacks, they're at the low, they're, in terms of poverty or in terms of, diseases are susceptible to this. They let you know your weaknesses all the time. All the time they let you know your weaknesses, but we can't let them know of theirs. That's no longer, we can't allow that to happen. So, like we said before, all of the things that they create, are in terms of, helping them to survive in this realm. Now, let me show you something because we have to go back to this. This is one of the last videos that I'm going to show because we're going to end it on this. Very powerful. I wanted to, show this video because I think that it's extremely important and I don't want this to go over anybody's head. I really want us to be able to commit these concepts to memory. So once again, 1976 Copyright Act, Section 107, allowances made for fair use for the purposes of commentary, criticism, scholarship, news reporting, and overall here at the FOF Squad, waking your ass up. So, yeah, we got to end it with a banger. We got to end it with a banger. Because y'all, they think I'm playing. They they don't want this stuff to go down like that. All right, let me pull up the video. Okay. I thought I had it. I thought I had already viewed it already. Okay. I told y'all I had time today. Y'all didn't believe me. Y'all didn't believe me. Because this is important. This is where I'm finna tell y'all, like, how, you gotta stop, okay, so this is what I'm finna say. All right, now, when we see these arguments all the time about black this, black that. Remember I told you we're not looking at black in terms of the societal construct, you know, what it is. English laws doesn't mean nothing. When you say you black, you this, that. Fuck what a Blanco think about you. We talking about its metaphysical properties and stuff like that. And I'm finna prove to you what I shouted out. This is the nail in the coffin. So I hope you're ready. And I'm gonna reference, this is where How the Sun Sees You has 18 million views. Thomas Leverett, Leveritt, Thomas Leverett, 8.9, a little over 8,000 subscribers and stuff like that. This video got him 18 million views and stuff. This, you know, so you can reference this video so you can see this, because remember, we're talking about the electromagnetic spectrum. Now, this is what's deep. Remember, do not let your human limitations or your limitations as a human being, because you are not a God yet, to help you determine or cause you to determine that this existence is what you think that it is, right? Because you got to observe it through your limitations. Just like when we talk about how when it's dark, it ain't no light outside. Yeah, but that's for you, not for nocturnal animals. They see just fine. They see you can't keep assessing this world through the human. That's so arrogant. That's one thing that you got to understand. So I'm finna expose that to you. That's what I'm saying before. So, black, I'm finna show you the power of black. Now, we see it, as you've seen it. If you've seen this video before, you've seen that when Blancos put suntan lotion on, under UV camera, as the way the sun would see them, they look or appear to have on blackface. Okay? Now, remember, we went back. I told you to hold on to that idea. I told you to hold on to the idea of silica, right? It's sand, right? That's where you make glass out of. We told you how glass, is made from silica or sand. And we showed you that, it's many different uses, not just, with glass. We showed you that it also makes microchips, right? But we're going to show you how most white folks, especially Blancos, they love to have these glasses because it absorbs the light, bends it and refracts it so that they're able to even see in this realm. Okay, and how that's why a lot of them have the tinted windows. Sometimes if you get pulled over for your tinted windows, you're like, wow, this person got it. You have to have a prescription for that shit. It absorbs the sun. And how the police make an excuse for black people, like, look, nigga, you don't need these tinted windows. That's why they stop you, because they know. And they ain't going to express it to you why they stopping you. But you have to understand these things. So when they put on this suntan lotion, under UV camera, it appears to be black. Now, this is what's so deep. This is why I'm trying to have you rock with this. So we're going to end it on. What does suntan lotion look like to you from your eyes? As you see it, it may be like a clear, brown, tannish sort of thing. But under UV, it is perfectly black. Because the sun sees the melanin as complete darkness. And that's why on the UV camera, you might see us even having the same tone. But if you remember, our melanin is all in our tissues, our organs. When it gets that light, it captures it. It don't send it back. But because it's on their surface, you can see the blackness. Because you see the carbon on the surface of the glass, it appears to be black. But what color are glasses? Don't glasses appear to be clear? Let's show the evidence. Let's show the evidence. We're just going to start here at 118. See that perfectly black woman? See how she is? Glasses blocks UV. Look, she had on glasses, clear, black. Glasses look black. You see what I'm saying? Under another form of the spectrum, it is complete blackness. And then you looking at yourself, oh, I'm brown. So, what you call me black for? Well, not under a different level of the spectrum, nigga. You are complete darkness. I am killing you niggas. See how limited you are? You ain't fucking with Heru, man. I'm sorry, I'm going off. I told you I was bringing the noise this morning. I know they probably upstairs like, what in the hell is wrong with this nigga? This nigga downstairs been yelling for 2 hours because I'm bringing that heat. I'm showing you all this type. Nail in the coffin. Nails in the coffin. Nails in the coffin. All I want to see, bitches, them nails in the coffin. Look, I'm telling y'all, this shit's so wild. I know it's probably hard for a lot of the haters to digest. I know you hating because you want to hold on to them old theories and shit. You love that shit. You want to hold on to it. But I'm telling y'all, this is what's so terrific about this shit. When you start to open up and see yourself as a guy, you start to notice how this shit is hitting in plain sight. You see how perfectly black old girl, it started to express her melanin more under the UV camera because she wasn't that dark. You can go back and take a look at these videos. There's more videos with the same content. Some of them are just shorter. But it was popping out the melanin, popping it out. It showed, like they said, it showed white folks and it showed their freckles. The melanin was popping out. And it was dark. But to you, their freckles look what? Reddish, brown. But those, we know freckles are concentrated forms of melanin. It's its attempt to try to correct an anomaly. Because Mother Nature don't want you out here without carbon. I know y'all mad about it. You probably had some belief systems you was rocking with. You weren't ready for all of that. Oh, we not black. Oh, I'm fucking you up. Yes, I am. Yes, take the seat. Take the seat. You know what I'm saying? Class is in session. Take the seat. You see what I mean? Because now we're showing you. This is why I wanted to get this all to y'all. And I told y'all, look, I was going to do some, extend these segments and shit to bring you that power. But it's just too much power for them. This is for the chosen. You wouldn't dream to be living in the age of the great reveal that they call the apocalypse, the original meaning, where we're revealing all we made known to you. They ain't got no secrets. Ain't no secrets. Ain't no secrets. You talking about what you thought that because they had money that they knew something. No matter what they know, if they can't actualize it, they know that that's what we're capable of doing. So I'm telling you, charge up. This is the bridge now that you can create from the natural to the supernatural. The fasting, I know sometimes it's hard, because we've created a beast or, this vampire inside us with these yeast organisms and stuff like that, which they tap into our hormones, our chemical messengers, and they have a hunger for foods that are not healthy for us. And they will take over the organism. Mind you, that skin disappears, it's eaten away by fungus because it's pure carbon. And that, at the end of the day, is what the fungus does.